upon a time, there lived 4 little rabbits named Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a cozy sandbank. Under a big tree, one morning, Mrs. Rabbit said, "Children, you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor." Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to pick blackberries. But Peter, who was a bit naughty, ran straight to Mr. McGregor's garden. When Peter arrived, he squeezed under the gate and started nibbling on some lettuces and French beans. After that, he went on to munch on some radishes. Suddenly, he felt sick from eating too much. While looking for parsley to cure his tummy ache, Peter ran into Mr. McGregor himself. Mr. McGregor spotted Peter and shouted, "Stop, thief!" Peter was terrified and began running as fast as his little legs could carry him. He ran all over the garden, knocking over plants and pots, trying to find a way out. But no matter how fast he ran, Peter couldn't remember where the gate was. Peter lost one of his shoes in a bed of cabbages and the other in a patch of potatoes. Without his shoes, it was harder to run, and Peter's heart raced with fear. He dove into a watering can to hide, but it full of water, making it impossible to stay there. Finally, Peter found a gate. He squeezed through the gap just as Mr. McGregor nearly grabbed him. Peter didn't stop running until he reached the safety of his home under the big tree. He was executed, drenched and dirty. When Peter returned, his mother noticed his disheveled state and immediately knew where he had been. "Peter," she said, "you must go straight to bed without supper. Perhaps this will remind you to listen next time." Meanwhile, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail enjoyed a delicious supper of bread, milk, and blackberries that they had picked earlier. Moral of the story: the tale of Peter Rabbit teaches children the importance of listening to their parents. Peter's curiosity and disobedience led him into danger, while his siblings, who followed their mother's instructions, stayed safe and were rewarded. Lesson: obeying those who care for us, like parents or guardians, is essential for staying out of trouble.